Hello, viewers. I'm here at Iordache. I'm Murtuza from Counterpoint Research, senior analyst doing automotive research. Iordache is all about bringing the map community and location community together, the partners and year's innovations on maps. And I have with me Andrei. Andrei, do you want to introduce yourself briefly for the viewers? And then we can have a good discussion on what we've actually experienced and enjoyed over the last couple of days.
Thank you, Murtuza, for this opportunity. It's great to have the chance to talk to you. My name is Andrei Iordache. I am Director Industry Solutions for Automotive, leading business development and strategy for automotive. As you said, what we do with mapping and location technology for our automotive customers and partners.
I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days. The European EV market has kind of gone a little bit quiet, and one of the things that keep coming up is the pain points the consumers have with EV. How is here helping OEMs to kind of address some of these experience issues with EVs that can, enhance their ownership experience or user experience of EVs and solve some of the pain points? If you can elaborate a bit.
So I think the pain points are coming from multiple pillars, and certain things we can address, certain things we can address, other things we cannot address. And one area that ourselves we're looking at, also working with automotive partners, is there is still, I would say, if you look at mass market adoption, maybe early adopters, they were really good at figuring out charging and doing things, and maybe even taking pride to figure out how the all EV experiences work, but to make it actually more seamless. And from this perspective, there is still uncertainty about, I would say, lack of confidence, or maybe even in certain areas, scarcity of charging stations. So, of course, the easy answer would be let's have charging stations for everyone. But what we also believe is let's also have better intelligence about the charging stations out there. And from this perspective, what ourselves we've been really working on and working with partners is to make sure that we are increasing the confidence in the charging stations information that we're exposing to the drivers and to the users of our location services.
Because one of the things we often hear is, I go to the charge point and we have to wait, or my card doesn't work. And that's quite a disturbing thing if you're going on a family journey somewhere far away, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the capabilities that we've been working on. Exactly what you said, this is most likely coming from as an issue of prediction. Because, for example, you are planning your trip and you see that in 2 hours from now there is a charging station available, but you actually don't know if it's still going to be available by the time when you get there. So in many cases, this is a source of dissatisfaction and stress for drivers. And what we've been working on, and this is something that at CES this year we've been previewing and introducing, is what we call the capability to predict the availability of charging stations. And this actually looks from it starts with information that comes from the charging stations, but also combine it with different data sets that might influence availability. So traffic information, weather information, events, and so on. And then now at certain charging stations, and this is, let's say, always growing, we're able to provide a prediction if the charging station would be available by the time that you will get there. This is particularly when it comes from the user experience, this is key, because you can say, hey, the driver, or actually even the navigation system could say, I need a charging break, and then I can choose places that have a higher availability. So, and this is a factor of AI, right? Because the beauty of AI is also to bring in the element of prediction that, and you will never have a 100% accurate, but you can decide, okay, if this is 70% available versus 20%, maybe I go to the 70% one. And it also helps a bit to channel demand. It's a bit like with the traffic, right? So sometimes it happens the same with traffic, right? If a route is very busy, you take a different route. The same here, right? If you see and if you have an understanding that this route would be busy at this point in time, you will take the different one. So that's the kind of things that we believe would have an impact in the user experience. And we take a bit of the kind of like, there was a range anxiety. I think now it's no longer the range anxiety, it's more like the charging anxiety. Exactly. So this would actually help, with the charging anxiety.
Yeah. And how about integrating sort of the various different service providers into map? How is that taking place within your own map and navigation system?
So of course, especially when you're talking about EV and Europe, there's a lot of fragmentation, right? There's a lot of charging providers and mobility operators and so on. From this perspective, we believe that the first step to actually use the charging station is to find the charging station. So we are, let's say, working with a large number of partners, and we are praising ourselves to have the highest coverage of charge points in the world, probably, let's say, outside of China. But to be able to have this. Now, what specifically comes into this is that sometimes, because this is so fragmented, it's not just a matter of integration, it's also a matter of making sense and kind of like unifying. And sometimes you might have duplication, sometimes the data is not right. Even let's say the charge point operators come like refer back to us and say, can you help us to understand, where is this charging station reachable, what's happening, and this and that, because at the end of the day, there's charging stations are kind of like everywhere, and managing them is let's say.
There have been so many kind of acquisitions within the charging industry that sometimes the charging company themselves don't know where the network lies, isn't it?
This and exactly, and also probably, let's say, provide back feedback. What we hear quite often, and from the industry, is that they're asking us, we are trying to figure out when we need to maintain certain charging stations. And of course, if you are able to say, okay, the charging station is really in high demand between this time and that time, don't send your technicians to maintain it from 7 in the morning to 11. Do it maybe in the late afternoon, because they won't be. So I think there's a lot of potential on both sides, working both with the OEMs but also with the operators to provide them the location intelligence.
That's really amazing that Here is actually doing that, because this can remove one big bugbear of EV users where, like you said, range anxiety has now converted to charging anxiety, and it's putting people off actually buying EVs. And hopefully using Here map and navigation, they can get a better experience to have that confidence in buying EVs. Andrei, another thing that's quite pervasive is AI. We'll talk a lot about AI. How is AI being built into mapping? And how does the future look like in mapping in terms of AI usage? I'm not trying to be apparent usage, but even building your systems up, how you foresee that happening?
That's a very good and very, let's say, relevant question for the times that we're living in. At the end of the day, location technology and mapping is making sense of big data, right? And from this perspective, well, let's say with the progress of AI, and I'd say even early days, I think now it's a big topic, but it's something that we haven't started, when with the emergence or with the hype of AI, we're even doing it before. So there's two parts of it, right? One would be how AI is helping and increasing productivities of map makers and building map information. And this is, quite a number of our features in areas that we have a lot data generated from vehicles and sensors can actually be automated. And AI can help extract features, can check for duplications of places, and sometimes you get from different sources the same place but in different places. And with AI, it's easy to actually stay on top. So that's the part of it. Maybe also extracting footprints from satellite imageries of buildings and so on. So there's quite a lot of applications. Now I also have to let's say to say that what we're observing, and this is even in other areas of AI, is not yet replacing the human expertise. It's enhancing the human expertise. So what we do ourselves, we have the AI processes and tools and so on, and we have the map makers, experts that can work with that and maybe at a certain point even arbitrate what's coming out of AI, what's our knowledge and so on, and even increase the productivity. It's not like, and maybe this is something that will probably stay in the industry for quite some time. It's not that if you have AI, you probably need less human experts. It's more like those human experts can actually maybe focus on other more complex challenges, and then certain things in the map making, can be driven by AI. That's one thing. And the other thing, very brief, is also how AI is becoming a user of location. And this could be various ways, from, I would say, generating scenes starting from location information, or even smart travel assistance and, predictive elements in the vehicles and so on. The Gen AI engines, they are providing a new playground to get insights of the location technology.
I didn't quite think about the latter one that you mentioned, that actually AI could benefit a lot of the location and mapping picking up, and using that as a source to draw data for them for various different applications beyond kind of automotive.
And at the end of the day, the AI models, they're exciting, they're impressive and so on. But it comes pretty much down to the data and the quality of the data that you're providing to the AI. And this is where we believe that in location data, we want to be a key player for these new use cases coming up.
No, fantastic. I mean, it's great to see you're actually, being actively involved in this, because it's not one of the things you want to be left out of. The more you get involved the better you're going to get with this, I think. So, great to hear that here's making inroads into and getting AI into the system. So, thank you. Thanks, Andrei.
Thank you for the
fantastic
opportunity.
talking to you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.